This is the Man United agenda, and we're here to report that we just got top four Champions League football, edged Liverpool out, and we're back. We're back in the big time. So welcome to Kihinde, and welcome special guest Eddie Football Waffle from his Eddie Football Waffle channel. Go subscribe. Ready for this, guys? Let's go. All right, welcome to the Man United agenda. Yes, all skin and teeth right here because we just made top four. Brilliant season, brilliant result against a team. We'll talk about the opponents later. But yeah, we've done it. We only needed a point and we've managed to get through. Welcome to Kihinde, my brother. How you doing, man? You've watched the game. You look a bit miserable, man. We just made top four. What's going on?
I'm not miserable. I'm tired a little bit, but I'm happy. I'm really happy. Because I said at the beginning of the season, objective, let's get a trophy and get top four. And that's exactly what we did. So I'm
delivered. Happy. Eddie Football Waffle, welcome back, bro. I got the text, got the call. I was so excited to hear you coming back on the show. Do you only come on to celebrate? Or where were you in the bad times? Where are you during the bad times, man?
I mean, come on, you can't make me guilty for this kind of thing because that's human nature. Sometimes, when it's good times, you want to show up more you want to show up. But yeah, I know it's been a long time since I've been on, but I appreciate you allowing me to come on at short notice. And yeah, man, it's so good to be in the Champions League again. It means we can attract the big players, So. I was saying we should maybe pop some champagne, but I don't know if that's too premature because it's not a trophy, as we know. But yeah, back in the top.
It is like
I'm just gonna give a high five to everyone out there. Slap, bam, to everyone who supports Man United. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, blam, in your face, guys. And really excited about that. Mr. B's asking us, do we know the words to Champions League, the theme tune? Full karaoke. He was trying to say he was gonna do it if we qualified. Do you know that? I don't know how it goes, but I just love the intro. It's just like a build up. It's massive, and big clubs deserve to be in that competition. And I know we're not here to gloat about being in the top four. It's kind of expected, but where we've coming from, where we've been, and where we're at now with the new manager, we've got to be pleased. So big up, Mr. B. You will be learning the words, not me. I'm bringing it. Big up to Rich Sports. Go subscribe to Rich Sports. Rich Sports is a bad man. I love him, and he'll be on later. I'm sure he will. Talking about the game tonight and all the things that come with that. He's big up Eddie from Mr. B. No doubt about that. Big up Emma Kay. She's showing her muscle now. She can flex, and all the confidence Emma Kay had throughout the season is justified now. I'm with you, Emma. Double AA. Sorry, he's saying. Not enough time to get that 5. I was waffling when I said 5-1 yesterday. Obviously, he predicted scoreline. I was shocked. I said, no way. 4 or 5 goals. I didn't see it coming. But big up. Lampard, the worst manager ever. Zico, what do you think about
that? Possibly. If you look at his record the last 20-odd games, you have to say he's up there. Yeah.
Eddie, Lampard, the manager?
I mean, we saw what he did in his first stint with Chelsea, where he was working with some of the youth, working with a transfer ban. He was looking all right, but I think his return has really exposed that he doesn't even have those coaching badges, does he? So he looks out of his depth.
But shouldn't players respect him due to him being a great player? Is that not automatically the case then?
Yeah, I mean, you can have respect for a legend, but you can't exactly take that onto the pitch when you got all these managers that are doing their systematic football and Lampard's there, just looking clueless.
He looked angry today, Lampard. It was like beyond frustration. He just looked like he just has given up.
You know what made me laugh? Yeah. They showed a clip on the bench and he turned to his right-hand side guy or his assistant as if like, what do I do? The camera's on me. What do I say? Say something to me. It just looked bad, man. Yeah. And I feel for the guy because you can't come into football these days and be a laughing stock. I don't see players like managers getting that opportunity. I know I'm not going to turn into something else, but I can think of a lot of managers who, if that happened to them, they would never see light of day again.
He's got
Look
the
at Darren
privilege,
Moore.
hasn't
Look
he?
at Darren Moore.
I don't
What
feel
he's
sorry
doing
for
at
him.
Sheffield
I
Wednesday.
don't feel sorry for him at all. Because to be honest, he got given the job at Chelsea too prematurely, given the job at Everton prematurely, and Chelsea again. And he's not ready. And if, like I said, if it was anyone else, if it was someone like John Barnes or anyone else,
Yeah.
going into it, he wouldn't be given this time of day.
Yeah.
So
Right. We're not going to go there, but we know what we're talking about here. And
Yeah.
it's just like, I think Lampard, because he's a golden boy, he gets golden opportunities and golden tickets a lot of the time. But anyway, Casemiro with 2 headers against Chelsea this season. Let's make it a tradition. Remember the last game? Yeah, big win tonight. That's Solo. How you doing, Solo? I'm glad you head up. Rich Sports saying, need to head off. Maybe see you guys later. Make sure after the show, guys, let's jump onto Rich Sports and join him there. Emma saying here, no, a shit manager is a shit manager. Doesn't matter what they did before. Red or dead. How you doing? Chelsea was unlucky not to be 3-1 up in the first half.
maybe.
We talked about that. Big up to Jeff, by the way. Jeff is going over to Rich Sports as well later. He's a loyal Man United agendaite and a Rich Sports site as well. And he said, big up to my big man, my man EFW. Who's EFW?
Eddie's Football Waffle.
Of course.
Yeah. Big up, Jeff. Big up, man.
Someone else we want to big up as well is Brush. He's been a great contributor to all the channels. And we appreciate you, Brush, all your great insight into the game. Emma's saying, hey, we got a penalty. It has been a long time. Brush saying third would have been nice, but we can fully rotate now and prep for the final. Happy days. We'll talk about that later. Nobody wanted the job. He took it. They talk about Lampard. Red or Dead saying we look better when Sancho when Sancho and Rashford, with Sancho and Rashford, I think.
Yeah, Rashford looked electric when he came on, man. I was just excited. The aggression he has in his running, it's just beautiful, man.
Big up to Big G. He says, oi, oi, peeps. Nice to see Uncle Phil back on the agenda. And finally, Sancho's robbed of assists tonight. Effing hell. Let's go. Let's get into this. Because we talk too long. This one is just about team selection. Do you think the manager, I mean, there's 3 games to go. We got, obviously, today's game, Fulham, and then a cup final in a couple of weeks. No issues with De Gea. The right-back situation, he started with Wan-Bissaka. Is Dalot going to get a look in before the final? Will he get an opportunity to sort of make his case, Eddie?
It seems like, because we've got one more game. We've got one more game, right? So it seems like the team's going to be rotated, where we'll see like the players that are not playing tonight. Because if he was thinking of playing people that are playing, that are, on the bench in the final, he would have played them, in the because you got to rest the players, don't you, for the final? So it seems he's going to play the second string for the next week. That's what I mean. So it seems like people like Dalot, they probably will show up next week. And I think the team we've seen tonight, I reckon we're going to see these guys in the final because they need to rest. Are they going to start the next game? Do we really need third place?
Kahinde, you're a manager. Would you, with momentum, so we got Harry Maguire, Malacia, Dalot in defence, not getting games at the moment, didn't play today, didn't start. And then obviously the players in midfield with Fred, and you got Veghorst and all these other guys. We'll talk about Anthony as well later. But would you rest them and then they take your foot off the gas? Doesn't that sort of make you still? Don't you want to keep that winning side regardless? Don't worry about injuries. How would you go into the Fulham game? And how do you feel if you were Maguire, Malacia, and all these players on the verge of the squad? Would you be knocking on the manager's door saying, give me a game, let me prove myself for the final?
I don't know about Maguire. If Luke Shaw's getting there ahead of him, I don't know if he's going to get looking. But I think the way I'd think about it is if I'm Ten Hag, I'm thinking, right, I know what my first 11 is, and I know the players that I want to come in to maybe bring in as subs. Someone like Fred, I think should probably start the final against City. And he should probably, just think about getting those players sharp who he thinks are going to be direct replacements. So Dalot's got to play the whole game against Fulham because if something happens to Wan-Bissaka, he gets injured or something, you need your next right back straight in. So I think just the important players, don't change it too much because you don't want to kill the momentum of the team. But people like Malacia, Dalot, maybe McTominay's just coming back, maybe give those 3 guys minutes.
Okay.
You see, this is the hard thing, because you need freshness as well as momentum. You need freshness in your players, don't you? So I'm hoping that a lot of the big hitters are rested. I mean, really, if you take a loss on the last day, I mean, we know what the bigger picture is. We've got
Eddie, I'll
Champions
ask you a
League.
question then about that, because Man City have taken their foot off the gas, waiting for the final. They've rotated. Phil Foden's come in. Lewis has come into the side, and they've got a draw, and they're not really popping like how they should. So does that? Do they expect them to just turn it up when they put the A team in? I mean, this is what I'm seeing with Man City. So I'm a bit worried if we play a weaker side against Fulham. Are we going to drop off and expect the guys to turn up again?
See, that's the thing, because we don't have that privilege of having like a second team, which can pretty much be, the first team as well, because that's what Man City have, don't they? They have two first team 11s, pretty much. So for us, okay, we don't have the privilege of just like turning back on, but I think we can do it for the FA Cup. I think we can rest players, and Ten Hag will instill in the players the passion and the fact that we can be the team, to stop Man City's treble has got to be enough to turn the players back on, even if they've had a rest.
That's the answer I've been looking for. End of the conversation. Yeah, big up. Performance today, obviously, we're playing Chelsea. Now, when I look at the Chelsea team, they look okay. They've got a few threats, everything else. We know they're down in mid-table, but I was not writing them off. I predicted a draw today. So anyway, performance. I mean, we scored after 5 minutes. Easy goal. What do you think, Casemiro, Zico? I mean, he's come in this year and he's delivered. I mean, Gary Neville was saying that he's the man who got us top 4 this season. What do you think of him as a player? You've had a time to assess him all season. And that goal, I mean, Eriksen free kick, he's done this so many times with headers. He's not even that tall. He just reads it so well, doesn't he? What a great attribute he's got with getting headers in the box.
Yeah, Casemiro is a really important player for us. He was like vital that we got someone with experience in that position, because we've been crying out for CDM for years since Carrick's, gone. Matic never really was a good player, but didn't have the legs no more. And Casemiro's got that experience. He's got the winning mentality, and he's like the glue of the team. He had a little bit of dip in form, midway through the season, but he's been so vital to us in big games. And he was excellent today. Another great header. And the assist for Sancho was great. He did like a Ronaldinho no-look pass. Yeah, he was just really, really good. But I do think, obviously, we do need to get someone to push him next season, because obviously he's not getting any younger. But it's a great signing, really important signing.
Let's talk about the goal, Eddie. What do you think? What makes it, like, he's not the tallest guy in the world. What does he have that makes him win these headers? Is it timing? Is it experience? I mean, because there's big centre-backs in the box, and he's managed to get out there. What makes him such a good player, or winning headers like that and scoring goals?
I mean, Casemiro, I mean, he's quite he's quite stocky as well, so that helps. I think he is at least 6 foot. He is like standard height, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I would expect him to be good in the air as well. But for me, it's the stockiness as well, because there's certain people, if they're not that tall, they know how to barge a player when they're going for a header, and then get that space so they can get their touch on it. So that that's what we saw from Casemiro. His positioning was perfect, like just getting in between the Chelsea defenders and getting that header. I thought he was man of the match tonight as well, because every time I saw that.
We will come on to man in the match.
Yeah, okay.
Let's not reveal it yet.
Again, to ahead of myself. But yeah, Casemiro's got to have a lot of props, because he was back to like the kind of prime that he's been, and that is being the destroyer. All these little interceptions he was doing. There was a lot of slide tackles. He was a bit like Wan-Bissaka tonight, man. Like, just no one could get past those legs. You know what I mean? He was just stopping everything. And when Casemiro doesn't actually get a slide tackle accurate, he does this kind of thing where he makes sure he puts the player off. Like, he'll get a little annoying touch.
He's just obstructing. He's very clever.
That's what I like. That kind of Fred does it as well when he's on form. Just little annoying touches just to break up the play. So
he scored after 5 minutes. Great goal. I mean, I'm just so impressed with Casemiro scoring headers like that in a tight box. I don't even think Eriksen. It's got to the point where I think Eriksen must be looking for him or a centre back. You usually look for the biggest guy, the best header of the ball. And it's come to think now, with 7 goals or 8 goals this season, he is probably one of the best headers of the ball in that area. So many times I can think back, he's scored headers this season. It's been brilliant. We don't even have that on our side. All right, so but Chelsea started coming back into the game, didn't they? It was sort of like back and forth, and they were. You text me, Eddie, and you were a bit concerned. You were saying Chelsea are on this. We need to be careful, weren't it?
Yeah, it was frustrating because we saw in the first half, right? Like I would say, like the first half was like a half of two halves, if you could say that, because we were doing well, like for the first 25 minutes, and we were pressing them, we were getting our chances. There's certain chances where Martial could have had a better touch. It's very, very frustrating to see. I mean, Martial did get a goal eventually, but very frustrating to see like some of our touches are a bit off, but we had a few good transitions. And then, yeah, it seems to be the story of the season, guys, where we get that goal and then all of a sudden we're just sitting back. I mean, this is a bad Chelsea side. We allowed them to grow into the game, especially after the first 25 minutes. And yeah, I mean, the amount of chances they were missing, I'm not surprised why Frank Lampard, when he got his close up, he was angry, because how many chances did we see them miss? What was it? Kai Havertz, Woodrick, all these. That was Gallagher as well.
Do you think we were too open? Because you mentioned Casemiro picking out everything, but the game was quite open, don't you think, Hinde? I mean, in the first half, especially, well, both halves, and even half of the half, as Eddie was saying there. But do you think? Why do you think we were too open? Why do you think Chelsea were sort of able to sort of play a bit in the first half?
Chelsea got good players. Like the wide guys are really dangerous. They stretch the teams. They still haven't like really found their form yet, but I think next season they might pick it up. The Ukrainian guy, I think, is really dangerous. He will get better. He's a very good player. They've got good midfielders. Enzo, I think, is really good. World Cup winner. He pops the ball off nicely. He's a bit like Jorginho. So they've got good players. I knew there'd be a threat, but they haven't got that end product yet, where a striker, prolific striker, or any of them just finishing off moves.
They need Lukaku back, Kahinde. That's what they need. The guy with the big Timberlands.
I still when he comes back, yeah. But I knew they'd do all right because they've got decent players. So we were lucky that we got the second goal when we did, because it kind of killed the game off a bit. It could have been.
How do you feel about the Anthony injury? Because it's the timing, isn't it? I mean, we've been sort of critical of him, wanting him to do better, and you know he's passionate for the club. You can see it in his performance and his attitude. But that's really sort of broke my heart to see him like that. And you can see even when he got stretchered off, the manager came over, patted him. Everyone seemed to be a bit sort of low about that, because it did seem like that. I don't think he'd be making the final base unless he's faking it or something. I don't know. There's no way you can fake the reaction like that. Are we going to miss Anthony? You two, come on. Start with you, Kinde. What do you think about the injury? We don't know yet. I don't know if anyone could let us know in the comments. But we've got a comment here from Emma. She said, after Anthony's injury, we dipped. Probably we were a bit shocked, as it didn't seem like anything to start with. Didn't seem like nothing. When I looked at the replay, it didn't seem like nothing. But is Anthony a huge miss? And what do you think about his performance this season? Is he a good player? Is he value for money? Is he going to improve? And is it someone that we need against City, Kahinde?
I really like Anthony. I think he's going to improve. He's going to get a lot better, just like I think Sancho's going to get a lot better as well. And he put in a good ball today to Martial. Everyone talks about Anthony's end product, but now he's starting to look up a bit. He's been doing bits, and he made a good decision today, putting Martial through a good ball. Martial, unfortunately, had a heavy touch. But it was like when he initially went down, it was like a delayed reaction. First, he was like calling for the foul. Then he realized, actually, I'm hurt here. So it doesn't look good at the moment. Doesn't look like, if you're getting taken off on the stretcher, doesn't look like you're going to make a cup final next week. But it could be a blessing in disguise, because it would have been a selection dilemma for Ten Hag anyway about who to start, because Rashford's coming back now, and Rashford's got 30 goals this season. He's been one of our best players, and he's been starting Sancho, Martial, and Anthony. They've been playing well together as well. But now that Anthony's out, it's an easy selection to put Sancho on the right and Rashford left, which is his favourite position, and stick Martial up front, because we always play better with Martial up front as a team collectively, regardless of how many goals he scores.
Eddie, do you want to just touch on about Anthony's impact and how much it's going to affect us in the cup final?
Yeah, I mean, initially, obviously, I was disappointed to see him come off, because when anyone gets carried off on a stretcher, it's going to be serious. And when you see the body language of the player on the stretcher, I mean, Anthony was just having his hands, his head in his hands. So it seems like he's going to be missing that final. But in terms of his impact, he's come up with like some big goals, hasn't he? Like especially against Barcelona, where he got that that goal in the far corner. His decision making, it needs to improve. That's a big thing. Like Kahinde touched on it a bit. We need to see a more mature approach in terms of trying to get the ball to the forward instead of just shooting like to start off with, because he does that a lot, doesn't he? He cuts in and you know what he's going to do. Try and get it in the top corner. So we need to see some more better decision making. I remember against Wolves, he was man of the match, but you could see there were certain chances where he could have been given the ball to Sancho or someone else. He did get the assist for Martial, but for me, I think he's got potential. He's got potential to really be like one of these guys that's going to be leading us some goals and assists. So I think he's been all right. He's been all right, but can improve.
Do you agree with, just quickly, do you agree with Zico Kahinde that the cup final would look like Rashford on the left, Sancho on the right, and then Martial in the middle? Is that what you sort of go with at the moment?
Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, like Rashford was just exciting when he came on. Like the aggression that he has in dribbling, you can see the defenders they worry about Rashford's pace and all of that. So I don't think Garnacho is ready for such a big occasion. Maybe, I don't know, impact later on.
But he's closer now. It's good for Garnacho as well, because like you need moments like this. Even though we don't want Anthony injured, that means Garnacho's close, going to be in the squad, and he's definitely going to be a good start. If one of these guys, if Martial gets injured the next game, for example, Garnacho's next in line, isn't he? So it does look like fate here. All right, let's go to the 50th minute. Obviously, there's a lot of injury time in the first half. And let me just say this: my notes were saying that throughout the first half, we were having these sort of transitions and breaking, and it's just like the final ball. And Sancho was letting me down a couple of times. He was just like, pop it off, or there's an overlap, and there's too many options, maybe just too many options for him. But in the end, he made it count. I think it was a great goal at the end where he cut it back. The ball got played by Casemiro, and he dinked it in. Over, he held his light run, dinked it in. Sancho's on the right-hand side now, where Anthony would usually be, and he made a nice little run, no-look pass by Casemiro. And this time it was an easy option, because there's only one option. Either it was two options: shoot or square it for Martial, and he squared it. And I think that helped him, because there was a couple of times it broke down between him and Rashford, and I don't know if they were cussing each other. I doubt they would. They got respect for each other, but it was one of them ones where if it was us, we'd be saying, "What the fuck? Just pass the ball!" But it's so many times in the first half, isn't there? You agree, guys, that things were breaking down, and that was a good finish. We really needed that just to make it very simple, because I thought we were playing some Ole football.
That's what we need to do. I've just got to say, like that kind of goal where you're putting it on a platter for the forward to tap in. We used to be so great at that during Sir Alex Ferguson days. It's just getting crosses in for like maybe a Ruud van Nistelrooy who's going to get the header, going to get the tap in. We need to be working on more of those kind of plays rather than just trying to take the shot. We've got to stop this culture where these players want to just be on the score sheet and make it all about them. It's got to be team game. Try and get these sweaty goals where you're just passing it into the net.
Do you agree, Keane? I mean, with the first half, so many things were breaking down, too many options, maybe a bit of overload and making the wrong decision in the end.
Yeah, I really, the timing of that goal was great, because it was just on the stroke of half time.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit frustrated, because I was thinking Chelsea could get a goal here. And we weren't really doing that final ball. But that goal was like, I hate to say it, it's like a Man City goal, because you just pass it in the net. And that's the type of thing that we need to be doing. And Sancho, he's always got that composure to pick out a good ball. So yeah, it was great timing, great team goal. I was really happy with it.
Just a few comments here. Paul Tierney saying Casemiro doing the Ronaldinho no-look pass for goal. Sublime. He loved that. And we all did here. Red or Dead saying 4-0 don't mean nothing unless you think you can beat City in the final. HG Gamers singing the Champions League theme song already. I know the music I'm listening to tonight. We know what that is. And we got Emma saying here, Annie's injury. We dipped. We spoke about that. Rashi's a striker more, so double AA. He's more of a striker now. Red or Dead is saying we have more balance with Sancho on the right. Martial needs a gift to score. We need a real number 9, and I like Rashford floating. That's the front three that he likes. So it's good. Yeah, well broken down there. Emma's saying, she also said that Annie didn't go to hospital, so maybe it's not as bad as we think. She also saying, I do like when he pretends to shoot, but it's an assist instead. He definitely needs to do more, though. Paul Tierney saying here that Anthony needs to improve on his weaker foot, too predictable, but has been decent. Or it says decent, but decent. And I agree, Sancho on the right, says Red or Dead. And Emma saying here, the build up to Martial's goal actually began with Sancho slipping. So Wan-Bissaka had to step in and then he could pass it to Sancho. It was brilliant. She's laughing.
Yeah, the way he got away from the left back, the Chelsea, and he checked his run, Sancho, was really good. Because that left back was just...
Right, let's go to the second half. There's so many moments in the second half. There was a sub initially. Do you think Shaw's injured? Because he's put Malacia on for Shaw in the second half.
If Shaw is injured, I don't think it's a bad injury. But I do think that Ten Hag has wanted to give Malacia some minutes the last few games, get him sharp. But I think if it is injury, it's very minor.
Yeah, hopefully, because Shaw's been amazing this season, hasn't he? I mean, he's been able to play left centre back and left back. He's been quite versatile. So hopefully it's just a precaution.
Second half, I've got so many notes here, but we're just talking. Basically, it's an open game. I just want to big up Wan-Bissaka. He got into the box, and I was praying he would score. He dubbed the man, cut in, and shot. And it just, I really would have loved him to score that because he got forward really well. And it was on down the left. I think it was down the left-hand side. This was side, so he played really well. There's so many Ole moments where we're really splitting things up. It's like everything we've been working on seemed to be we've seen highlights of it, or just a little tweak of. Just a little inspiration moments where we say, okay, is this the football we're going to be playing? 1-2, split passing, open teams up. It was beautiful throughout the whole game. In the 67th minute, 69th minute, Fred came on for Ericsson and Garnacho came on for Martial. Now, Eddie, you saw the reaction from Martial when he got taken off in the previous game. Did you see the reaction this time between him and the manager? They had a little few words.
Yeah, it didn't look like it was anything like, where Martial was surprised, like he was clearly surprised in the last game. It just looked like that, like a little word, like where, Ten Hag's reassured him of something. It didn't look like it. Yeah, it didn't look like there was any beef. So, yeah, I mean, it must be that, Martial being rested. So, he could be fresh for the final, or maybe he's going to be played a little bit in the last game, taken off then. So it just seemed like it's all right.
Eddie, were you happy with the football in the second half? Because you said the first half was like 50-50. Do you think there was an improvement there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. From what I saw, we were trying way better than what we were doing in the latter part of the first half. But it seemed like when Bruno took the soul from Fofana with that nutmeg, and then Fofana had to react and give that penalty. It seemed after that moment, then Chelsea were dead, and we had so much fun, just like getting balls to Garnacho. There was so much space, wasn't there, on the left when Garnacho was on? The amount of times we were trying to get in, and Chelsea just looked like they looked so bad, and. I know I've been a troll against your boy Maguire, but Fofana looked like he was Maguire in terms of making mistakes after a certain bit. It looked like his head was gone.
Yeah.
So in terms of what you asked, our football was obviously a lot better because we just capitalized once we got that penalty, and we just we started playing with freedom.
Yeah.
Knowing that we're back in the Champions League. Just getting warmed up. Trying to embarrass teams, 4-0 was coming. We should have these kind of results at home, So it was great to see.
Lovely goal, was it? The penalty, Zico. I mean, you always say to me, that's how you take a penalty. Just take your time, slot in the corner. But he actually waited for the goalkeeper. And he didn't do that funny run up. Just a nice little stroll up and pop.
Yeah, and I don't know, whatever the reaction after the penalty, it was like the Chelsea players got pissed off, like.
Yeah, what's going on there? Talk to me.
Like he was taking a piss or something. But he's just being Bruno. That's how you should take a penalty. He just said to keep it the wrong way. If you hit the penalty with conviction, you hit in the right spot. 9 times out of 10, the keeper's not going to save it. But yeah, it sparked a negative reaction from the Chelsea players. I think maybe Bruno's winding them up or something. I'm not sure. Something I didn't see.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Chelsea, you're going to be angry at this point. Where isn't it the worst season in the Premier League now for like points and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Apparently it is. There's no like awards for Chelsea as well for Player of the Season. They scrapped the whole award. They should say surviving. Really, I think surviving the Premier League because it's been that bad of a season. But I just feel like today, when we scored the second goal, we killed the game. The second half, they didn't fancy it. But had they scored it in the first half, it could have been a really cagey game.
And you talk about like late in the game, we scored a fourth goal, and this is all to do with Bruno and Rashford, with like setting traps, trying to stop Fofana from playing out. Fofana plays a short pass across his area, doesn't even reach his target, and Bruno's there to intercept, plays it into Rashford, and Rashford sort of kind of rounds the keeper and scores again. I mean, that's good energy. And is this are we playing a poor side here, lacking confidence? Is that why we sort of overrun them, or was it just like we were peaking at the right end of the season? Ed,
I would say you could have like a combination of both. I would say from the body language I saw from those Chelsea guys, especially after the penalty, it just looked like they were giving up. And then on the side of that, we had some more confidence, and we were just relaxed. We were just bopping the ball about, getting chances. I remember, I think it was Garnacho hit the bar as well. There was quite a few chances we could have done. I thought at one point we could actually get a 7-0, where we're embarrassing the team like what happened to us at Anfield. So I think it's a little bit of a combination of both. We were looking confident, and they looked like they were going to capitulate. I think 4-0. I would still say that's a capitulation. I think we embarrassed them.
Yeah, just a couple, Zico, before I come to you, a couple of comments here. Now, elephant in the room is that Anthony looked better. We looked better when Anthony went off. That's from Red or Dead. UK Strange, how you doing? Said, good evening. Top 4 is done. Let's go for the FA Cup, most certainly. And Red or Dead said, I felt sorry for Chelsea, almost. Apparently, says Emma, Bruno held up number 0, maybe with his fingers, in front of Kepa, but the beef was with Sancho in some way. So I wanted to, I was trying to sort of work out what was going on there. But I think it's frustrating when you're losing like that and your team is not a team, you're going to get frustrated, aren't you? Agreed, he's talented future, but fear he wants a Neymar lifestyle. And this big win was due, most certainly. Kinde, look, we Rashford scored. Good pressing, wasn't it? I mean, and then Garnacho had a chance, hit the bar from a deflection. And then Sancho cut back for McTominay. This is all in the last few minutes. So it could have been a massive hiding. We're talking like 7-8-9-0 at one point.
Yeah. It's good pressing from Rashford. The Ten Hag always likes the forward guys to press. And I was happy he did that. He's showing he's getting sharper. And obviously he wants to be in that first team for the cup final. I think everyone's kind of trying to play for their place. Where Chelsea just really checked out. They've got nothing to play for. They probably just want the season to end. They're not a poor side. They've got very good players. I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea finished top 4 next season with a good manager like Poch is. But I just think we just killed the game off, and they gave up, and we had all these chances. But everyone's kind of playing for their place now for this cup final.
Well, considering that, let's go talk about player ratings. Let's make this punchy. Let's finish up the show. De Gea made a few good saves, I thought, today. I'm going to give him a 7. A couple good kicks, long passes that maybe fortunately came off for him. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Any disagreement there? Higher or lower, anyone?
7 as well.
I agree with that with a 7. I can tell De Gea was mad at Felix for spoiling that clean sheet, because obviously, De Gea's got that golden glove. You wanted to probably stat pad, get another one. But
there was 2 little saves he made. I think one was it from Gallagher? No, Gallagher hit his wide, but there was 2. But there was one slow shot that he saved that was like creeping in, and it was really good save, really good. We got underrated save.
All right, defense. Wan-Bissaka higher or lower than 8?
I'd say 7. I think he was, just did his work. You could even say 8 because, like you were saying on Monday, the way he got forward sometimes looked like he was a bit dangerous. I don't think he put a foot wrong. Yeah, I think he was 7
Higher
or
or
8.
lower than 8 then? You're saying lower than 8, 7.
I got 7.
Kinde, Wan-Bissaka, let's pump out the
7.
score.
7.
Lindelof and Varane, as a unit, I thought they've done well, 7. But when we have to be careful here because obviously Chelsea, it was an open game. And when people are running at you like that, I think Lindelof done really well in sort of personal duels as well towards the end of the second half. And so I'm going to give them both a 7. Any higher or lower? Any disagree or anyone want to say anything about that?
Yeah, I just want to say about Varane, I just think he's so consistent, and I watch him carefully because I play centre back. He's like my favorite player at the moment because he doesn't rarely puts a foot wrong, rarely makes any errors, very composed. He just looks like a world class performer. Lindelof's impressing me as well because what I used to criticize him about, he's starting to do now. Like he's winning his headers, winning his duels, being strong, his timing of his tackles. He looks like a different player under Ten Hag. So yeah.
Just go to left back and midfield then, Eddie. Take us forward, please.
So we had Shaw, right? So he played, was it 60 minutes, wasn't it?
He came off at half time and Malacia.
Came off at half time, that was it. Okay. So he had a good half. I was trying to just remember the key things because there was a lot of times where we were just sitting back after we got that first goal. But I would say just a steady 6 for sure. Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, no complaints. Midfield. Yeah, go to the midfield. So talk us through the midfield. Let's make this punchy now. Casemiro, Eriksen. I know what you're going to say, but yeah, let's have a little summary on the Casemiro because clearly he played well today. Eriksen, I'll give him a 6.
Yeah. I'll give Eriksen a 6. Actually, I'll give him a 6.5. He got the assist for Casemiro.
We don't do points on my show. All right, what do you think of Casemiro? Kinde, start us off with Casemiro's performance today. Yeah. I know you spoke about him early in the show, but just give us a quick account of what he did well today and what score would you give him?
I think he just looked a bit sharper because he was sticky in the middle of the season. He was just he wasn't moving, but he looked really sharp. He obviously got the first goal, which was the icebreaker for us, and then he got the assist as well, which is great. For CDM to see that pass was excellent.
Is he a CDM or just a midfielder?
Yeah, he's a CDM. Okay.
He's kind of a maverick, ain't he? Because obviously he was getting the goal, he was playmaking as well. It's kind of like a weird kind of playmaking CDM.
It's midfielder, so he sits. He doesn't do box to box. So I'm really impressed with him. He's got to get an 8. He's
8th man of the match. We'll come on to that. Do you want to talk about Casemiro before we go on, Eddie?
Yeah, I mean, Kennedy's summarized it nicely there. I was saying earlier on, I already said, I think Casemiro was my man of the match. I'd probably go, 9. I'm going to say 9 because I didn't really see him do much wrong. Even when he was doing a bit that was wrong, it was he was making, like I said earlier, there's little fouls where it's not serious and you don't get a yellow card. You just break up the play. And then you get a little warning from the ref, and it's all right. Yeah. So Casemiro is smart with doing that. He does the right things well, and then when it's not going that well, he just breaks up the play. So for me, got the goal as well. He's got to be at least a 9.
Okay, up front we had Garnacho came on, we had Antony, we had Rashford, Martial, and Sancho. Special mention for Sancho, guys. If you're going to score these guys up quickly, just give me a shout on Sancho, please. I think that's what we want to hear about.
Sancho, I'm going to give a 7. I thought the assist that he got was excellent. He looked a bit better when he played on the right-hand side, but I think, not to say he's better on the right-hand side, but it's just Rashford and Sancho is more balanced. He had a shaky start in the beginning because he had a bad touch when he got played through and everything. So did Martial. But I'll give Sancho a 7. I thought he looked quite kind of sharp today. He looked like he wanted to do well against Chelsea. And I enjoyed watching his game. I think he played really well.
Give me other scores. Let's go through the other scores of the guys.
I'm just going to summarize it quickly. Martial, I'm going to give him a 6. I know he scored, but he his touches at the beginning of the game were really bad. I just want to say quickly with Ten Hag, if he wants Martial to be fit, I think he's got to stop taking him off. Like the guy just needs to play a full game. That's how you get the fitness, match fitness, and sharpness. You know, he always comes off injured or whatever. But if he's okay to play, just leave him on for the full game. So just Sancho, Martial, and who's the other one?
Rashford, Garnacho,
Anthony. I thought he was doing bits. I would have said 7 because he looked dangerous. And he picked out a good pass. So I was really impressed with that. Garnacho, when he came on, I'll give him a 7 because he made the impact. He's got impact player. Every time he comes on, he does something impactful. And that's it, really, isn't it? Rashford. I'll give him a 7 because of the goal, the pressing, the hard work. He looked sharp.
Eddie, over to you.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, I mean, Kehinde is, you know what I mean? He's summarizing these player ratings nicely. So, Sancho 7, I would say, because of the assist, he was trying. I give props to his effort, but, he needs to do a bit better with the dribbling. Hopefully he'll see better than what he's been doing. Martial, I agree. Like some of his first touches, this is what we give him props for, is that first touch, the link-up play. There's a little bit off with the first touch, but he got the goal. So, he kept trying. I give him a 7. Anthony, I don't know. For me, I'm trying to remember we were pressing more when he was playing. And then when he came off, like Emma Kay was saying in the comments, we just dropped off when he got injured, and we kind of lost like a lot of control of the game after the first 25 minutes when he came off. So probably give him a 7 because he was helping us press and create chances. Garnacho, I'll probably go a 7 as well because just the way he kept, he was just scary on the counter attack every time. We could see him in space. For a young player, he knows how to pick up the right spaces, and I'm surprised that he's got that maturity. So he was unlucky to hit the bar as well. 7 for him. Who else is there? Is it Bruno? I don't know if I said about him. I like some of the passes he was doing tonight. Like, he wasn't doing the cowboy thing. He was trying to assess and measure the passes. So I you know what? I'm not his biggest fan, but I give him a 7 tonight because he was really measuring the passes. And I think it was right tonight.
Nice. All right, I've got a few more things. You said man of the match was Casemiro. Zico, Kehinde. Who's your man of the match today? And why?
Casemiro, but special mention for Varane and Wan-Bissaka.
Okay. I think Wan-Bissaka, Bruno get special mention for me, but Casemiro clearly for what he did. Last section, just something different here. Look, we've been a great season. Now, let's talk about Man United. Who are we toasting? And who do we boast about, feel proud about? And who are we roasting in Man United this season? Start with you, Eddie. Toast. Who are you making a toast to?
So obviously, I know the players do the product on the pitch, but who sets them up, right? Who does the tactics, the instructions? It's Sir Ten Hag. I think he should get a knighthood if he stays on this trajectory, right? So we've got a toast.
Yes,
Mr. Ten Hag.
To Ten Hag.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of experiments that he's done. He's a professor. Playing Shaw at left centre back, even when Weghorst was working at number 10 against Barcelona, it's just certain little things like this where he does like in-game management, changes things about. He's got to be toasted. I think,
who are we boasting about? Who are we going to say we've got this guy or we feel proud of this guy? Who are we boasting about now? Toast. We put a toast to Ten Hag. I accept that one. That's a great choice. Who are we boasting about? Say we've got so and so. Someone might say we got Saka. They call Saka their star boy, don't they? Who do we boast about?
Go on, Kehinde. I know you're thinking.
No, let him finish.
Okay. I was thinking, but you know how we have recency bias. I was going to say Casemiro, but if we look at the whole season, it's Rashford. The way he's been turning up with these goals. And even assists as well. I don't think we count his assists. I think his goal involvements has just been like, you could even say not Ballon d'Or level, but if you're a United fan, you kind of biased sometimes. Like I've been saying Ballon d'Or Rashford. I've been saying Rash Bappe, because you can put up these stats. So for me, I would boast that we got this kind of guy that's been, getting these big goals, and he just last season I thought he was going to go. I actually wanted him to go because I thought his attitude stunk. Yeah. But this season, like Ten Hag's turned him around, so we got to boast that we have a guy like Rashford.
I agree with you there. And finally, roast. Now, who are we roasting in the side? Who's someone that we say not good enough? That's bad. Give him a wag of the finger and say you got to get roasted, bruv.
Right. Okay. Well,
there's a few.
OMONDI,
not my show. Don't say it. No, joke. God. Be honest. Be honest.
I mean, I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest. I mean, because you got to look at the bar, right? Obviously, I'm talking about your guy Maguire. Okay. Yeah. The fact that he's the club captain. I know we have Bruno as like the match day captain, but like club captain still is like Maguire. But there's certain games where he's come on, and I don't like to troll like my own players, because I obviously I want to troll the rival fans and their players. But at one point I was saying Maguire had expected mistakes. You know how we have expected goals, expected this. It seemed like Maguire was having expected mistakes. So it was just
that's a new data stat.
There were certain things he was doing this season where it was by passing the ball away, mistakes. I mean, in the Sevilla game with him and De Gea, they look like the Chuckle brothers. There's a few things where it wasn't that great this season. So
So you're toasting Ten Hag. Your toast is for Ten Hag, yeah? You're boasting up about
Rashford,
and you're roasting
Maguire. Yeah.
Keen Day, over to you. Who are you toasting?
Got to be Ten Hag. First season, that the objective was to win a trophy. We haven't won a trophy for a while, and obviously top four was very important. He's achieved both of those things, and he's turned the squad around. We finished 7th last season, so we've made some really good, important signings, clever signings.
Boasting. We've got so. We've got this guy.
I'm gonna say Rashford as well. I was gonna say Casemiro, but you mentioned Rashford. I'm thinking he scored he was awful last season. He only scored 5 goals. He's got 30 goals this season. This is his best season ever for United.
Best since Van Persie, isn't it?
Yeah, and considering he doesn't always play striker, he mainly plays for wide. That's very good numbers for someone in his position. And he scored some good goals, important goals. One against Barcelona stands out. I think he's had a great season. I'm looking forward to seeing him do bits in the future. And roasting. Now, I understand why you said Maguire, but for me, Maguire hasn't played enough games in succession for me to roast him. He has also played some very good games when he's played. He's some outstanding performances as well. So I'm going to roast Weghorst because I have to see
that's a good shot, actually. That's
he's useless because the thing is, Ten Hag gives him love. Like it was the last game when he took off Martial when Martial was having a good game, and he put on Weghorst, and that's why Martial made the face like the drop lip when he walked up. Weghorst, come on, he's useless. He's a donkey, man. Like, he's been useless for us. Seriously, I don't know how anyone could talk about Maguire and not talk about this guy. This guy.
That's a good shot because I think Weghorst got like 2 goals in 28 appearances or something weird.
What about the effort he makes? Do you think he makes effort? Does that compensate?
He's a championship standard player. You know what I mean? I would bring him on with 5 minutes to go to maybe get a goal. What he did in the World Cup against Argentina, he made the impact. He's not a starter. He just looks awkward. He doesn't look like a footballer. So, yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it looks like a defender, A lot of the times when he's moving, it just looks so slow. He's championship level, man. We need
just quickly to wind up in the Premier League. Then, who are you toasting in the Premier League? Both of you, just throw it out there. Who are we toasting in the Premier League?
What, as a player or as a team?
Well, we're boasting and toasting. So, who do you tip your hat off to and toast?
Haaland.
Haaland.
Yeah, I was about to say Haaland as well, and I obviously I don't want to. I know we don't want to as Man United fans because obviously, you know, he's at the rival club. And we could have got him at one point, you know, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was more persuasive or whatever he could have done to get him.
Is he that good, Eddie? Eddie, is he that good?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, just as a striker, right? Not so much a footballer, because you know we've seen that there's some aspects of his game, dribbling, creating chances for himself. He's not really got that kind of thing. He's like a Ruud van Nistelrooy, you know, back in the day, that kind of guy. I mean, Ruud did have some good dribbling at times, but a lot of the times it was just you got to get service to him. But we see Haaland, you know them kind of karate kick finishes he was doing. He's very agile. He just makes great runs. Yeah, and he's broken the records. You know, he's beaten Andy Cole's record, Alan Shearer's record when they had more games before for their top goals. So he's done very well.
That's why I'm giving it to him. But I'm going to say this as well and throw this out there. If someone like Alan Shearer or anyone else from the 90s were playing in Man City's team now, they'd probably just score just as many goals.
Good shout. Good shout. I don't see you mentioned Ruud van Nistelrooy and you're comparing it to Haaland. Very similar players. And I just think we don't get players like that anymore who've got it all to be able to do that. Ruud van Nistelrooy is fantastic in my opinion. One of the best. Who are we boasting about? Talk about the Premier League, not just about Manchester United. Who are you boasting about? Who would you say, oh, this is what makes the Premiership so good? This is a team, a manager, a player. What would you boast about? What makes the Premiership so good?
That's a hard one there, you know, because
I would say the stadiums are always full.
We've got like 5 or 6 teams that are like really competitive. Like a team like Brighton as well. I would say West Ham getting to the was it Europa League final?
Conference.
Conference. Yeah.
Final. That's like a good achievement. I just think the Premiership has got, in terms of like our top 10 to Germany's top 10 and Spain's top 10 and Italy's, we've got better teams, a lot more better teams, competitiveness.
Okay, can we just shout out across the pond and read this out? And guys, some food for some thought. He would toast Spuds out of Europe and no longer top 6 at all. The toast. Here's a toast to the Spuds who were on the collapse. Great stadium, just on the collapse. But it wasn't supposed to be like that. But a boast is to Brighton. This is a good one. To Brighton and their manager and their scouts. I think that's worthy of the best boast out here. So when you talk about the Premier League, a team like Brighton, with the data, the scouting, the management, Pep was raving about them the other day in the post-match conference, wasn't he? Saying that their decision making, they make you, there's not a better side in the world, he feels, than Brighton. So that's a great endorsement for the Premier League. And for the Premier League, we roast Chelsea. How much do you spend and be so pathetic? Says across the pond. I call it clown show, Bole Ball. Good one. A couple more here. The Brighton manager deserves a toast and some boasting. That's from Emma K. Or is a toast a good thing? Yeah, it's probably a good thing. We toast to someone and say that's a great thing. We said Ten Hag earlier. Boast Eddie Howe as well. Would you boast about him?
Yeah, definitely, because obviously this is the English Premier League, so an English manager actually doing well amongst all of this, European talent that's in the division. So yeah, definitely got to be boasted.
Can I also say, I think Howe's done a really good job, because when I look at Newcastle's first 11, their best first 11, I don't think that's top 4 material. Like I don't think, but he's managed to grind out results, and he's only lost about 4 games or 4 or 5 games. So I think he's done really well. It's scary what they're going to do in the summer.
Because if they level up the players that they're getting in, like where could they be in the title race soon? It's scary times, man. Yeah. That's why we got to do our business.
Is it right then? We talk about roasting in the Premier League. I mean, are we agreeing with across the pond that Chelsea deserve roasting for the way they've managed their club?
Yeah, I was just going to say as well, like the way they tried to cherry pick all of Brighton's talent as well, taking the manager. I'm sure they took other staff as well, didn't they? They were trying to take
Potter brought all his staff up, I think, as well.
Yeah, they'll try to take everything. And it's like for them to survive and have the knowledge of what kind of manager will suit their scouting system and will suit their structure. They've done well to actually they've leveled up, haven't they? They're actually finishing in better position than what they did with Graham.
I'm not gonna cast Chelsea down too much because it wouldn't be surprising me if they not won the league next season, but finished the top 4 and had a very good season next season.
You really think so? I mean, come on, they've lost their owner.
10th, and then the next season they won the league.
That's
right. But we got to look at the fact that they've lost their owner, Kahinde. Yeah,
the structure and the players to come back and do good with the right manager. They will.
I don't trust Bowley. I don't trust that he will actually work well with a manager, because Abramovich was the guy that he knew what he was doing. He knew, like, because I hated the fact that they were doing this hire and sack, but Abramovich knew how to do it. It's like you've got to, because he was a proper football fan. I don't think Bowley is as much of a football fan as what Abramovich was.
If you ask Bowley for money to say, look, I'll need this player, he'll give it to him. So,
but is Bowley, how much input is Bowley having? Because it's seeming like, when he was with Potter, it seemed like Bowley was just buying players. He was going to meetings himself to try and buy players, wasn't he?
He wants the team to do well, so he's ambitious enough. So I think they will do well.
We complain at Man United about being poorly run under Glazers. What we're seeing at Chelsea, that's terrible. I mean, they should be always at the top 6. This is just really ridiculous. Emma's saying here, Leeds are going down. Let's roast Leeds. What about, can I just put a mention out for Southampton? I've always felt they were a well-run club. I always felt that they would maintain Premiership football with the way they sort of recruit and bring players through. What's gone wrong for them getting relegated so soon in the season? Is they just don't have the quality? I mean, they've always been an established Premiership club.
They had a good manager last season. Was it a German guy or something?
Yeah, Ralph Hasenhüttl.
Yeah, and he was had a good run of results, then some bad results. But I don't think that they should have sacked him. And I think that was a really bad move. And when you look at their team now, they've still got a very good team like Ward-Prowse, Walcott, Lavia is an excellent player. Suleimana is a really good player.
Walker-Peters.
Yeah, Walker-Peters. Still got a very good team there. But I think, but they needed the right manager. And I think that was a mistake getting rid of that guy. And you've got to think about Leicester as well, because Leicester nearly got the top 4 a couple of seasons ago. They were always in the top 6. And now it looks like they're going to go down too. Leeds, I'm not surprised about because of the way that they played football. It was just there was no kind of consistency. And they just go all-out attack, and you're not going to survive in the Premier League doing that for long. But Leicester's a bit of a surprise because they've got very good players like Ndidi, Tillemans, Maddison, Vardy.
Barnes.
Barnes. So they will finish in top 5, top 6.
Yeah.
But and look what's happened. They were Premier League champions 2016. Looks like they're going down.
Yeah, I think a big thing, for Leicester was obviously they supported Brendan, didn't they? I think what I'm trying to say is, remember when Brendan fell out with Schmeichel and then he had to let Schmeichel go?
Yeah,
that was a big player for them.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the captain actually? Or
he's very underrated as a keeper. I think he's
Gary O'Neill at Bournemouth. Agreed.
Yeah, kept them out, and the Forest manager. Really good.
I don't like the way the Forest went about their business, just buying loads of players. I don't know where they get their budget from, but they've survived, so fair enough. Can't argue that. Just I want to read this out across the pond, saying Saints and Leeds should not have been like Chelsea and stuck with their managers and would have done better. The chop and change constantly with managers is madness these days. Emma's saying here that there's too much selling and not enough keeping players. It will catch up with you at some point. Across the pond, saying Dodgers would not let Bowley be sacking baseball managers or players. Oh, yeah. So, Chelsea going to fail as long as their this owner clown is allowed to do whatever he likes. Haaland is a monster. Martial on his holidays, says Red or Dead. And close to poor Bournemouth. I think this is a great shout for Gary O'Neill. We had a Bournemouth fan on recently, earlier in the year. And I said, you're going down. I don't think you've got the quality, but they've done really well to stay up. So fair enough. Fair play to them. And Forest had to buy. They barely had a first 11 going into the season. So, justified.
Yeah, I thought Forest were going down. The amount of players they were buying, I thought their chemistry was going to be thrown off, but they've shown some passion.
He didn't play towards the end, did he? They spent a lot of money on
games. Yeah, he's on the free again. He signed a 1-year contract.
So we're going to do end of season review. There's so much to review this season. But are you confident now going into the next couple of games? Fulham, obviously we don't need to play. We don't really need the points. But Man City game, I mean, that's going to be huge, isn't it? As you said earlier, Eddie, about the treble and the three-peat and all
They
this
must
kind
be
of thing.
stopped.
Are they beatable or are they this unstoppable force and no one can come close to? Because we beat them early this season.
Yeah.
Just make it simple. We're going to wind up the show. Can we beat Man City? And how
Yeah.
do we do it?
We can. We've got to pick the right team. So that means, as much as I love Eriksen, I don't think he's right for a game against Man City. He hasn't got the legs and to track and everything. So I would definitely play Fred and Casemiro together. We've got to break up their play. I think the front three picks itself. Now, if Anthony is injured and obviously Bruno's got to play, and the back four at the moment picks itself. I think. Sorry, I was gonna say I picked Rashford, but I want to touch on Wan-Bissaka. He was like a close second because how he's turned his season around.
Yeah.
You know, he looked like we were going to sell him and everything, and he's out of it. And the way he's turned his season around and got back in the team ahead of Dalot has just been excellent. He's been really good, a much improved player under Ten Hag. So I think he'll probably start, and Shaw will start. But with City, they're beatable, but we've got to get the tactics right. And I think we've got to play Fred and Casemiro.
Just answer this: is Martial staying or going? Because across the pond's asking, staying or going, Martial.
I might as well keep him because I don't think no one's going to buy him.
Okay.
Just
that injury record,
before we come to you, Eddie, I was going to say this. I think we've got a week from Fulham until the FA Cup final on the training ground. I think that's crucial for us when we're playing City. So when we say, how do you beat City? The manager's going to find the formula. And we've got 7 days, like we did after we lost to Brighton. Then we played Liverpool after 8 days. We performed. I think it's going to be a very interesting game. So I wouldn't write us up at all. Eddie, is Martial staying or going? And how do we beat City? We're going to finish up the show now.
I mean, we can't trust the structure that we have at the moment for moving on players that need to be moved on. So I could see him staying. I don't want to see him stay because that injury record is terrible. And then when we've seen him play certain games, like his touch has been off or he's not making the right runs. So yeah, hopefully he goes. But in terms of beating City, like you said on Monday, we've beaten these guys already, albeit that they weren't on form. They weren't on form when they played us. Okay, that's a big factor. We know that they're purring right now. You know, they're on form. So it's going to be a different Man City side that we're playing now. Hopefully it won't be the 6-3 side, because we got embarrassed on that day. But Ten Hag, like I've said, he's the guy to toast. So for this one game, I mean, this guy, he wins cups. We weren't expected to win anything this season, and he's got us a Carabao Cup. So we can't rule out an FA Cup, man. We can't rule out that. We will see a formula, because remember against Brighton where we saw like a formation where it did start off where it was like 4-2-3-1, but it kind of rotated into 3-2-4-1, where Shaw was pushed from the defense into midfield to help Casemiro. There's stuff like that. There's these little things in game management which Ten Hag does. So I can see us working. It's going to be a counter attack that we're going to have to do, obviously, because we're not there with possession players. We don't have resources. Like Kahinde was saying, we need a tenacity in that midfield. We need to stop them playing. We need to do the little scumbag tackles where we're breaking up play. We got to stop the momentum of what they do. And we got people like Wan-Bissaka got to be doing the slide tackles, Casemiro slide tackles all day. We got to bully them, and then counter Rashford, speed them behind, get a finish, snatch it. That's what we got to do, man.
I like your enthusiasm, and on that note, now that I'm buzzing, I'm going to think about this, what you've said, guys, because it's going to be a special game, and we're going to get behind the team, and hopefully we'll see you, Eddie, on Fight Week next week, and even with the Fulham game, come back and join us. Kahinde, thanks for joining me again. Appreciate you.
Before we go, can I ask how you think we beat them though?
I think, look, they're better than us. We know that. But like you said, there's other factors to how you win a game of football. One game of football. Cup final, we can stop them. So much to play for. So the players going to be on it. I think the mentality has to be right just initially. I think we have to cut out getting overrun in midfield, because that's where they beat us 6-3. All that movement, we get moved out, rotate out position. They open you up. They should wait. They time. They wait. They're patient. They're patient. They're patient. And when you get dragged out or you don't make the wrong move, so it's about concentration. And we showed throughout the season we can sit back against Arsenal. We absorbed a lot of pressure, and against Man City when we beat them 2-1, we absorbed the pressure and we were disciplined mentally. We were concentrating. So it's going to take a lot. It's going to be really taxing, not just physically, but more mentally. Being able to say, right, I better not go, because that means I'm leaving space behind. And this is what they want to do. They're going to double up on you, that sort of thing. You get Grealish. You're talking about Wan-Bissaka diving in. Against Grealish, you can't dive in. You've got to stand up, stand up. He wants you to go to ground. You know, there's so many, everyone's got to perform and everyone's got to do their homework. So 7 days after Fulham, we're playing, or whatever, 6 days. That's enough time for the manager to prove he's a genius, tactical genius, and come up against the mind of Pep, who's really focused, his main focus is the Champions League. So it's going to be a very interesting game, and I'm confident that we can actually have a chance to do something scary against them. Remember Wimbledon against Liverpool in '88. Remember Liverpool with Michael Owen double against the great Arsenal side at the Cup final. It can be done, and these are moments we wait for. And I won't be disappointed if we play really well and lose, because they're at that level. But I just want us to put as much effort in as possible and go out there and give everything. And if we do that, I don't mind. Even if we lose, I can say we gave everything. They were the better side. You have to sometimes. That's
we got to win
because I'm not saying I don't care if we lose, but I don't. I think we've achieved what we achieved for this season. We've won the trophy already. We've got top 4. It's all about building. So we just want to not get embarrassed. Give a good account of ourselves.
Okay. But they're gonna beat Inter. I can tell. So I know I don't want to put pressure on the guys, but we've got to stop their
one-off game. We could win a one-off game.
We can do it.
Yeah. Talking about Iceman Jonathan David, that's across the pond, Canadian. Wish Edo and Arteta would just sign a Canadian gooner. They want him. He's not. I think. Who's the guy? Lacazette came second in the scoring charts in French league behind Mbappe, and then came David with 22 goals this season. So he's not prolific, but everyone rates him. I just don't know the transition from La Liga to the Premier League, whether he'd be that good. I just don't know. Big up FA Cup, Wembley. Anything can happen, most certainly. Yeah. And anyone mentioned City cheating with FFP. I don't want to get into that until the end of the season. We discussed that. I just want to deal with their footballing side of things, and they're brilliant. We have to give them that. And let me just clarify. I don't want to get snipped here. I wasn't saying I don't care if we lose. I do, of course, I care if we lose. I would care, but if we get battered and we don't do things, or the manager sets out a plan and people don't go to plan, and people are out of position and we get all over the place, that's where I'll be vexed. Guys, settle down, do your homework, listen to the manager, and concentrate throughout the game. Have leaders out there and organised, and City will find it difficult against any team. Yesterday, Brighton had like so many shots against them. Brighton were able to match them in certain departments, even though it's a weaker City team. So as good as they are, I think we still got a chance. That's for sure. Eddie, just give me a quick shout. Where can they find you?
Yeah, I've just got to say, first of all, hit the like and subscribe for Man United Agenda. It's a good community channel. But yeah, you can find me on Eddie's Football Waffle. I do, Man United reactions, animations, stuff like that. So yeah, come over, subscribe.
I second that. Go and subscribe right now, guys, to Eddie Football Waffle. Fantastic channel, fantastic gentleman as well. Thanks, good friend of the show and good friend of ours as well. So thank you. Appreciate your insight today, Eddie. Big up Kahinde. You're looking like you want to go to bed and rest up now. I know you got work in the morning, so we're going to leave you there. Thanks to everyone in the comments. You know who you are. Appreciate all you guys. And we'll be back tomorrow with Mr. B's Friday Night Takeaway. And don't forget, guys, one more thing. We do shows tomorrow at 12 midday. We're releasing a show for you guys. It's an interview with a player called Barry Miller, ex-Doncaster captain. You know him, Zico, don't you? Yeah, and a friend of ours. And he is a fantastic interview. Myself and Bath Time interviewed him. If anything about football you want to know, it's a proper profession playing football. And we're just fans, but to be a professional player and go through all the dramas of being a footballer, go listen to the podcast, go and listen to the show. 12 p.m. tomorrow, that's midday, it's being released, and it's all free for you guys, for your pleasure. We're out now. God bless and have a good evening. And it's top 4 well, maybe top 3 for us this season.
Yeah.
Fantastic achievement. Well done, guys. Good night.